Hi everyone, welcome back to our class now, which will be discussing research for pretzel story. So now that we went through in the previous class talking about the process of research, I show you that example of the gray school castle. So now that we know, we have an idea what it is, how we can approach researching. We can actually jump into researching into our idea that we picked. So the idea I picked was the pretzel. And so now I'm gonna share some of the research that I did for it. Before I started, I just would like to say, please, even though it's based on an image research, feel free to really add. That's where creativity comes. Where's your job as storyboard artist comes. You have to tell not only what you saw, but you have to to make it more poetic, to exaggerate it, to tell a story that makes the audience sit in the edge of their seat. So we have their job is to not only describe what happened. Our job is to dramatize. So let's jump into the research I did for the pretzel story. So it's pretty much me watching Game of Thrones. So I was like, well, I was just looking in the internet what kind of images could find, and the episode was one where involved um, Jeffrey, this character here, and he is like a little terrible guy. Terrible guy. You just wanna, yeah, you just hideous. You just hate this kid so much. And I just found this image that really described this expression that he has, and I really enjoyed it. So that's pretty much the sequence that I was I that appears in my story, is gonna appear in my storyboards. And involve those characters here with this Tyrion and Tyrion Lannister. And here's one shot that had some subtitles, so I thought it could be really helpful because I really will have me reading subtitles in my story. So that will help my research. Images of the characters that I'm gonna have in my story. Here's some like layout, some image that could help me to for composition sake. So I was just looking different angles and um, how what it would be our gesture, like me and my girlfriend, because we were watching through a laptop. So how would we be behaving? How would would it be would we be really close, or would it be like farther? So I was just doing this research to see how that would the interaction would be. That's just for the sake of, it's not because of this girl, it's just for the sake of the composition. So it's just image of pretzels, and I really want to be specific to what kind of pretzel we were eating. This is just images of people eating, like pretzels, and close-ups of mouths chewing, like two guys eating pretzels. So yeah, and then a giant bag of pretzels, which is similar to what she was holding. My girlfriend loves Costco, so she always buys things that are like family size. So it was a family size pretzel. So, and here I'm gonna go to the exploration of the drawings based on the pretzel research. So here's I was just trying to kind of like go through my references, and like and push it, and get to a point where like, well, I want to board that. That's what I want to see in my story. So this, of course, I'm not going to show an image of it, but a picture of it. That's the schematics of my girlfriend's house. So here's the sofa where we stayed most of the time when we were watching Game of Thrones. And I did this layout because I'm going to use this whole schematic, to tell the story. So it's really useful for you, for geography's sake, for you to have a schematic of whatever you're going to storyboard, the settings, of where you're going to storyboard. Here is the pretty much the place where we're going to be the whole time, so most of the time. And yeah, that's she has a little ottoman where we put our feet here and have the laptops in our laps. That's me here, and that's my girlfriend. She's much taller than me. That's actually not really caricature. That's pretty close to reality. And she loves pretzels. She just loves pretzels. And I'm really into myself. I'm kind of like selfish a little bit. Sometimes. And this is I was just trying to see what would be the size of the pretzel bag. And it was too small here, so no. I just cross it. Here, pretzel bag, pretty big, Costco kind of bag, and that's, yes, that's the, I want to exaggerate. It wasn't that big, but I really want to push it, to be pretty big. Then I said, oh, let's keep pushing more, maybe it's the size of me, the pretzel bag, but then it's just too much, it completely becomes too cartoony, so you want to have a size that's exaggerated, but, it doesn't cross the line. So this is just some research for the Game of Thrones characters that are going to be watching the laptop. Joffrey the terrible little guy. And little king. Tywin Lannister. And here here is a shot of me, an exploration of me and my girlfriend, and we were that's pretty accurate. Like when we were in the car, she has a huge hair, like curly. It's beautiful hair, but it's really curly and it's big, So I of course exaggerate a little, but I thought it would be really funny if maybe in the story at some point her hair got in my way, and annoyed me even more. So I tried that, explored that thing, maybe her hair is kind of bumping into my head, and I can't see. But then I was like, well, that's not the point of the story. I need to make the story simple. So I thought, oh, maybe if I made all about the pretzel, so the hair is not getting my way. It's all about the pretzel. So when you work on a story, try to keep it simple. Simple is better, because it gives you a better control over it. And if you have too much, if you want to tell too much, it's just you're gonna get lost and you're not gonna focus on anything. So I would rather be specific in one idea and really exploring it than doing too much. And this is like a interesting thing that I wanted to do, because whenever she chews, like you see here, you see crunch, 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 and you see the crunch, crunch, and whenever you hear this noise, you see the subtitles get all distorted, and that represents me having a hard time reading the subtitles, having a hard time focusing. So there was like some kind of like imagery system that I built, that I created, so the audience could understand when I'm not being able to focus. And this is just a final shot of the whole layout, how I want it to look like. So that's pretty much how I want a shot of how I want the story to look like. So yeah, so I guess that's it, everyone, and I hope I was able to clarify a little bit of what the purpose of our research, in or before we start boarding. So please, now that you're probably a little more aware about researching, try to really come up with your exploration. Really push your research and be creative, but still grounded on research. I think that's a great way to really start your storyboarding your sequence. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, and I see you very soon.